You go back to the person I paid for supplies, and that was it. And she made it work.
I know for it all.
Yeah.
So I've got a net.
Guys, it's 11 o'clock, and I've got an appointment with you at 11 o'clock.
Oliver Stone.
So I've got an appointment with you at 11 o'clock. It is 11:03, right? So guys, I know folks are going to be filtering in as they usually do, with it being a little bit outside of the office. You know, let's just accommodate anybody who comes in. Let's get in and get seated quickly. But how do we start off each one of our meetings? And I know it's a little darker in here, and it's kind of a little bit more, you know, kind of sound reverberation. So I really want to freak out City Hall here today. I really want them to be like, who are these people that are our neighbors? I'm not sure that we want them around anymore, right? No. But let's really freak them out though. So I want to get one or two affirmations. What's one or two affirmations that you guys are using? Bold's kind of kicking up, so maybe some bold affirmations or something like that you guys have used in the past. What are some things that you're using right now to keep your mindset right?
I am a great realtor.
I love that. Simple, to the point, and it tells you everything you need to know, right?
Right.
I am a great realtor. All right, so on 3, we're going to really get loud. We're going to Mark's clients are going to be like, oh man, who is this guy? All right. I'm a great realtor on 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm a great realtor! I'm a great realtor! Mark's clients are like, I know you are, Mark. Stop telling us. Lord.
Like I know.
You're making a lot of noise. I do, but good. Awesome. Okay. So guys, now that the weather's been great, there's been a lot of other great things that have been going on too. So tell me what's happening out there in the market for you guys. Michael, let you off the hook too, by the way.
I'll go. I just had my first closing by myself last week.
There you go, Rick. How'd it go?
It went really good, but I didn't know what I didn't know, and I knew that I was forgetting something, and that was utilities, but one source did it right away.
So you took care of it.
So that was good, but
Great.
I'm not court one. I'm in court, but I'm not in court, so we're all good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're building out that checklist then for your own closing. Awesome. Great. So how'd that feel?
Oh, good. It can be done. Is what it was for me.
You know, that's a really big deal, guys. I mean, like there was, I remember when we were doing a call session one time in Illinois. It's just, you know, she got on the phone, made a call, got a referral, and you know, basically that was the major aha. That you know, basically if I can do it, I can do it, right? That was a big aha for me. I love it. What else? What else is happening out there? Do some good stuff. I had some good conversations with folks on the way over here. So tell me what's happening. Greg, care to share? Not to put you on the spot, but I'm going to put you on the spot.
Good, thanks, John.
Awesome.
Some of my wife's past clients in the past decided they were just going around looking at some property, and they saw this for sale by owner that they just fell in love with in this area. So they contacted us and said, hey, you know, can you help us out? So I talked to the for sale by owner, got our paperwork signed and stuff, our showing and that, and we did that. And plus, they also want to list their house to sell, and it's over here pretty close. And I should be finding out about that by the end of this week, I do believe. And so, and then this home in this area, I mean, they're selling pretty quick, and he's going to be below market market value, because he just doesn't believe that his home is worth what it's worth. So there's a house on the market, just to give you an idea, there's a house on the market for $225 that's very, very similar to his, a real good car. And I'm trying to talk him into going in too, because he wants to sell his house fast, so we can buy this other one. And so I gotta have something to show that other agent that we're priced right in the market, you know, try to get him to accept this contingent contract, so, and this thing's gonna sell in a weekend. I mean, I really feel like that, so.
That's pretty awesome. So now he wants to be at 195. Why are you suggesting 200?
Well, I told him 200, and here's why, because I catch the people from 200 to 225, and also from 150 to 200, so I get both sides of that, even though it's at the low end of the the 225 people, but they'll, once they pull it up and look at it, they'll see what's going on in the subdivision and see what a value I believe that it is.
That's awesome.
I did.
I like that.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, if you're doing that, which I mean, there's by the way, guys, that'd be an aha that I'd have right there.
Yeah.
That is a very, that's a tactical strategy that you're using there, I mean, could be potential $5 grand on the table, but not only that, you're getting more attention for your purchase, right? Right, for your sale. So, awesome, guys, I like that, that's great. I love to hear that kind of stuff. Okay, guys, give me a couple more things. What else is happening? Mike, I was talking to you this morning, so here's the deal. Now Mondays before team meetings or whatever, people are just gonna avoid me, so they don't have to me. But Mike, you were sharing some stuff that's going on in your world. So tell me about, first of all, you had vacation last week down in Florida, had some fun with the family, and but you also were able to mix a little bit of business in there too.
Yeah. So I wrote 2 contracts with buyers that got accepted while out of town. 2 accepted on listings and put 2 new listings on the market.
So 2 is the number, right?
2 is the number.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And so with my closings from last week, I'm at over 150% of what I was at the end of last year. For the full year.
150% just from last year. Just from last year, you're up.
Yeah. So like another 4 months, 3.5 months.
You'll be
I'm still there. Like right as of today,
okay.
I'm 150% of what I was last year.
Of the total last year.
The total last year.
You take the rest of the year off?
Well,
Yeah, so
keep
what are you
hammering
doing?
it home.
So what are you? So how are you finding it? How's this coming to you? What's going on with this?
I'm finding a lot of it is just coming, actually, that's funny enough, it's coming to me, but, it's from years of building that pipeline, where now people are motivated and they're coming out of the woodwork.
You guys kind of catch that? I mean, so I'm kind of hearing it from Greg and from Mike, and then I talked with Kim briefly beforehand too. I heard that I get the sense of like, well, Kim, I hope I can share that. So I'm like, yeah, but 5 listings in one buyer, or is that the way around? Yeah. 5 listings in one buyer. She's like, I'm not even doing anything for it. Now, I would pause at that because I think that we are doing a lot for it. We're just realizing the results from more activity that we did quite a while back, right? And so it's true. You have that tidal wave of activity. Let's say you make 5 phone calls a day. 4 of them, or maybe even all 5 of them, might say no in varying degrees of rejection. That's what it is, right? And if you do that consistently over the course of a week, that's 25 contacts that you're making that week. In that month, then you're making 100 contacts, right? So now you've got all this tidal wave of activity that's coming. That when they are ready to go, who they're going to think of? Look at you, right? Top of mind. Top of mind, right? So that's awesome. That's awesome, guys. I'll tell you what, there's some other things that are happening too. I just kind of want to point out, Table Realty Group, they're 18 closings in August, so they're on track for their best month ever. And moving forward to 20 million this year. Maria at Carico, you remember Maria? She's still rocking, guys. She's just traveling the world closing short sales. That's what she does. So she's got a handful of those, 4 of them this month that are pending. Lori Dillick's keeping her pace going with 7 closings. Mike Albley, I quoted the best month ever in commissions in August. That was fairly accurate. So close 2 deals while you're on vacation too, right?
Sure.
Best commission day ever while in Florida. That was pretty good. That's
Sorry,
pretty good.
it's time to leave again.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's what happens when you go on vacation.
You know what? That might be. You should put that in your pre-listing packet. Basically, if you fly me to Florida, I mean, you're guaranteed to sell.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, the one listing that sold was one that had a telephone pole in the back. I had 100 showings on that thing. Finally sold it.
See, all it takes is just remove yourself from Missouri.
Seriously.
I love it, right? I love it, I love it. Well, Mark's keeping his tour pace. We're gonna talk with Mark a little bit this afternoon about what's going on in his business. But he himself had 9 deals on the board, and then Mindy is taking advantage of being 100% capped here. So she's got 4 deals on the board in August too. Is that accurate?
Yeah, we've got like 9 or 10 closings in the next, I mean, you always say, oh my God, it's the end of the month, but we couldn't wait till the end of the month. So we got like 9 closings between now and the end of the month.
Good. I mean, that's pretty much closing a day, right? That's so would you like to hear a little bit about that then? I mean, I probably don't know about that. That's cool. Awesome. Thanks, Mark. So some majorly things are happening in the market right now, and some good things are happening in your business, and that's what we like to see. So the market center's statistics are just a summation of all of the successes that you guys are having. So care to hear a little bit about what's happening there? Look at your language of real estate. So this is something that we actually had a chance to speak about in our first meeting, in our first, what is that? 19? Oh my Lord. So it was the 5th, yeah. So on the 5th, we were able to go ahead and look at these numbers at the first go-round. Look at them. Just the closed units though, as far as this month of July over last year, 81% up. Look at all the numbers in Marist. They're all positive as far as August is concerned. So, I'm sorry, as far as July is concerned. So what does that tell you? What's that trend showing you? Just looking at the MLS numbers, the difference for the MLS. All double-digit increases.
July's a good month.
July is a good month. But I mean, it's historically a fairly good month, but this month, or this past month, happened to be incredible compared to last year's July, right? So what is that trend showing you? Double-digit growth in every measurable category per the MLS.
People are out there buying, looking and buying.
The market is much stronger, right? The market is much stronger. They're out there looking and buying. They're actually coming to us, right? You guys feeling that right now? So if they're coming to us and we're starting to see some things be buoyant, that's going to help us, right? Now, the thing I'd be looking at here, I'd be looking at the percent increase that the MLS is seeing. That's your competition. So I'd be looking at your own book of business and saying, where am I in relationship to that? So guys, you can actually run your own language of real estate for yourself. That's what I'm kind of getting at here. So when you guys have business coming in the door, you can start putting this together for yourself, and that's why we're starting to give it to you in an editable format. So you can actually slide it over and say, this is our market center, but here's where I'm at. Like, right? Do you think that's powerful? Need some questions?
Yeah, this 69 is, we're 69% better than everybody else.
Correct. And I'll be honest with you, if I were you guys, that would be the one number. There's a lot of numbers on here. That would be the one number that I remember. Because that speaks to everybody. That speaks to my buyers, that speaks to my sellers too.
I'll tell you what seals the deal with listings is, they kind of glaze over at all this, and we're just killing it here, and then I just go, we're 2% up, list the sale over our competitor.
That's a great.
And they just like, oh, okay, good, sign.
You know what, that's a great point too, right? So here's the deal. So what I'm kind of making some assumptions here, but the mental congruency there might be, hey, look guys, we actually closed more deals, an exceptional amount of more deals than the market out there. But one might say, well, that might be at the cost of maybe not selling it for full price or whatever, right? So then you complement this statistic with the statistic that shows that we sell our homes in our market center for roughly 2% more than the average realtor. Now that shows we sell more homes and we're not doing it at the expense of sale price. Does that make sense? If you guys want that number, take a look at in the last market update. By the way, if I were you guys, those market updates that I send out on pretty much a bi-monthly basis, I'd put that in a file, like an email file, so that you can grab those things as you need. Okay, because I'll always have attachments, and that's one of the attachments I had on there this last month. And I'll resend it out the next one as well. But I think great for sharing. I appreciate that, Mike. Guys, here's one other number that's in there too. That isn't on the language of real estate. We had 177 written units in July. 177 written units, which that's the best month ever for that too. So what does that say about our fourth quarter? So look at our listings taken value was up 93%. Listings taken value was up 60%. Listings sold volume and sold units are both up 100%. What is that? We've got more listings coming on. We wrote more contracts than we've ever written in July. What does that say about our fourth quarter?
Great start.
Off to a great start, right? But our fourth quarter was actually really kind of done in July. So whatever we're doing today is for that either December or January, or we're kicking off into 2014, right? Roughly, we've got about 75 days left to where we can write a contract and it'll actually close in 2013.
Thanksgiving is in 90 days or so. Next week, Thanksgiving will be in 90 days.
Keith's our constant calendar. That's true. So after hearing that, what's your thought about that? I mean, Keith is going shopping for Christmas items this week. He's getting out there for Black Friday.
Camping out in Best Buy or whatever. If I just went to iPad, I'll be good.
There you go. See, that's such a great thing though to keep in mind, because what day shows up, what, 60 to 90 days from now? So that's why we got to be thinking about that. You know, so the activities that we're doing today, keep in mind that we might not hit our books this month, and that's going to take faith in that we're doing the right activities to get there, right?
John, this also says to me, this listing's taken 60% for the fourth quarter. It means we've got the inventory.
So what does that mean? If we're controlling the inventory, what does that mean?
We control the market. We can't sit on that, and because the inventory will move, and then we'll be out of business. But
Right.
I mean, compared to 16% for Maris, we're up 60%. There's a lot of commission cutters out there now, a lot of new agents getting in the market. We're still grabbing the inventory.
Yeah, that's a good point. So a lot of the newer agents that are coming in there, and if they don't know how to articulate their value, what might they do?
By default, they'll either overprice it, which is buying the business, or they'll cut their commission, which is
Right.
buying the business.
Yeah, in the absence of value, price becomes an issue. So some of those newer agents, they might say, you know what, I can't articulate my value, so yes, I will do it for 5% or less even, potentially, right?
Yeah. So this says to me, we've got the inventory right now, keep it up.
I totally agree with that. To that point, we've got 371 active listings. I probably note that because that's about 50 listings more than we had at this time last year. And Keith, to go ahead and piggyback off of that, if I can't articulate my value, then I will become into a price war situation. And the language of real estate is just a tool to help you articulate your value. That's all it is. And it's just straight facts. Here's the numbers. Let them speak to you, right? Awesome. So guys, here's some other things that I wanted to share with you that I thought you'd want to know about. As we kind of mentioned in our last conversation, one of the numbers that's really striking to me is that out of all of the offices with over, I think it's 80 agents, so every major brand is probably the best way to put this. So as you're articulating this to individuals, out of every major brand, our market center ranked as the office with the most growth year over year with volume. Most growth. So right now we're seeing, our market center is seeing a 55.25% growth in volume. So if you look at the language of real estate and you're saying, what's the benchmark for my business and where I'm at? That benchmark is roughly 15 to 20%. The market's 15 to 20% stronger than it was last year. So that's where I want to make sure that my business is at. Now, if you're keeping pace with the agents in our office, then I probably want to look at 55.25%. Am I keeping track of that? If I'm not, what's my growth plan there, right? And Mike, you're 100% right. We're actually the second strongest office in sale price to original price when it comes to getting the home sold, and we do sell roughly 2% more. We get 2% more on our listings.
That's huge.
I mean, that is good. So Keith, I mean, how would you use that in the listing presentation?
Well, I would just, I tell the sellers, let's price it right. Price it right, it will get you closer to your asking price. If we're way out of the boat, and we got to come down 10, 15, 20% of price, you're wasting time, money. Plus, we're getting 2% more for everybody else. This is what we're doing for everybody else. Let's do it for you.
Yeah, by the way, guys, that's called benefit evidence. So it's saying all of the success that we're having over here should translate to us having success with you.
And I literally take this, you said how do we share this on listing appointments. I literally just tap this when they went over prices. I'm like, you sure you want to do that? Seems to visual.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, but I get. Are you sure? Because this is what my evidence shows.
We're doing this for everybody else.
Right.
Let's do it for you. And the benefit of pricing it closer is just it sells quicker and
It sells quicker, it sells closer to list.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, another statistic that you can use is the majority of your activity is gonna be done in the first 3 weeks of that listing, right?
Yeah, there's actually like in the KW listing packet, there's a cool sheet where it shows shooting up between, you know, the first 3 weeks, and then between 4 and 6 weeks, it says, it's like highlighted, it says this is where you mostly get your offers. So that's where you really sell them on. Why they price it right.
And there's 3 tools right there, you know, if you're able to go and deliver that in unison, I mean, that's a hard thing to go ahead and argue, right? You get a lot of evidence that you're armed with, right?
Plus with precise pricing, Mark Keller might talk about it, but there's a thing where you can show sellers, if they are pricing a little bit higher, that it's gonna take X amount of months or years to get that price point, based on what we know. So some people don't have access to that, but, and I'm being trained by Brian Kelsey, he did corporate reload. You can't screw up on these corporate reloads, you gotta price them pretty close, or they just sit. Mike's knocking it out.
I agree. Awesome. Perfect segue, Mr. Nash. Actually, I'm sorry, I do have a couple other announcements here. Look at that. Got a couple of cameras here. Mike, come on up here, buddy. Get capping this year, buddy. I like it. So how many months you have left on 100%? 4. Nice. And Mr. Jeff Klein had a huge month this month. He's actually capped as well, so he'll be getting 100% of his paycheck over the next few months as well. So congratulate him as well. Come on, man. I want to find out what's going on in your world. You're telling me some great things that are going on in your business, and we've got some people that are extremely curious to find out what you're doing to have so much success right now. Cool? Okay, throw you in the executive chair. All right, man, so, you know, where are you at this year in your business compared to where you were last year? I have no idea. You know what, I thought you might say that. I was really concerned about it.
Let's see, this year versus last year.
Okay, hold on a second. Before we dive into this, because, you know, I really recognize you as an individual that really dissects the business to understand the numbers. Can you help me? Why do you make that such a priority?
Well, I think that we all have to have individual goals just to keep us motivated, keep us on track. I mean, if you have a goal and you hit that goal, isn't it nice to give yourself positive feedback? And I think that's what it's all about. If you hit a goal too high, you never hit it, you think, oh my gosh, you know, I'm the worst station out there. But if you have realistic goals, it's a benchmark that you can feel positive about yourself. And, you know, I mean, look at every sport that's out there. I mean, you look at, downhill skiing. You look at baseball. You look at all these sports, and it's all statistically based. And why do they do that? It's because they know that bonuses for a lot of ball players is based on statistics. You know, so many doubles, so many home runs. And I think that you have to know the numbers so that you can compare yourself to how you're doing this year versus the last year. And also, because of the 2 years, you can also project about what you're going to do the upcoming year. And I think that's probably the key to my business, is knowing what I did in the past, knowing what I would like to do this year, and have some realistic goals, and then turn around and be able to write a great projected sales for the following year. You know, as an example, you know, when we sat down as a team, we were looking at 100 sales for the year. If you think about that, that's a lot of business. And I looked at some of these numbers, and I thought, well, it's pretty aggressive, but you know what? We've done it in the past. We've stayed pretty much close to budget. So, like, you know, year to date, you know, through July, we closed 46 properties. Last year, we closed 32. Our budget this year was 38. So we're 2 units off of budget, but yet at the same time, we're running 43.7% over last year. So those are the type of things that, like, when I sit down with my team members, or I sit down with myself, you know, am I on track? Am I not on track? What can I do differently? And you have to know those things. You have to know them. There's just no way of getting around it. You know, would you guys enjoy looking at your kids and all of a sudden they go to school every day but they never get a report card? I mean, don't you judge the school system, don't you judge your children's education by a piece of paper that says, hey, you know, they're average, they're above average, and there's some need for some type of improvement?
I love that analogy, it's perfect. And then the other thing I've heard you commonly reference your projections is a budget. So more so than other agents, I've heard you use the term budget. So what does that mean? What all does that encompass for you?
Well, from a budget standpoint, you know, there are, you got sales, and you got expenses, and you got profit and loss. So if you can project what your sales are, and from past history, know what your expenses are, you can figure out what your bottom line is going to be projected for the year. And also too, by having a budget per se, I mean, everybody's been to my class. I mean, I get a full printout. I get a monthly P&L for my business. And it has all my expenses on it. It has all my income on it. A good example of this, John, like this one, Temple bring this up the other day. Guess what's up 146.2% over last year? Profit sharing. Just profit sharing alone, I'm up 146.2%. So if you're not working on your downline, there's different ways to put more money on your bottom line.
So you even have that, that's cool.
Yeah, and then profit sharing limit. But, you know, my net income year to date, this year versus last year, is up 384%. The reason it's up is because I've controlled my controllable expenses. I know what my expenses are. I know what my past expenses are. I was doing some things with Realtor.com, and I dropped a lot of that because it wasn't getting a return to me. So where does that money go? Well, it just stays there. I'm not using it. But then at the same time, I used a portion of it and went ahead and went out for some other type of lead generation. And, you know, sales are up, you know, 42% but yet my expenses are down, all right, 2.2%. So my expenses went down and my sales are going up 46%. What do you think that does to my bottom line? And that's the money that, you know, we take home to our family. And that's the money that pays our bills and puts away the college education for our kids.
Well, too, you said that with a little bit of honesty and maybe a little bit of, you know, hey, 2.2%, you know, isn't like lights out, but I'll tell you, in relationship to what I've seen a lot of the other agents do, I mean, they're tacking on a ton of expenses right now, and a lot of it's coming to buying leads that I'm noticing. You know, maybe this is a chance to kind of pivot a little bit, you know, so what are some things that are impacting your business? Maybe 2 or 3 things that maybe changes or different things that you're focusing on, ideas, strategies, scripts, activities, whatever it is, those practical things. What do you think is really changing the face of your business right now?
Capturing leads, whether they're buyer's leads or listing leads, capturing those leads, going ahead and running about, you know, like a 90 percentile on listing presentations, on getting the listings. And, you know, it's just, you know, pretty doggone high. But then at the same time, we realize that listings will generate buyers. So the majority of our biggest change this year is our addition of listings and then being able to capture the buyers off of those listings and at the same time give enough service that you're going to take the person's home that you listed and put them in another home. So it's a big vicious circle. And by doing that, I mean, if you help a client on the selling side of their home and then the purchasing of another home, and you do a great job at it, what are they going to say to their friends? Hey, you know, this Mark guy, you know, this Mindy, you know, this Stephanie, I mean, these guys are doing a great job, and, you know, you need somebody to list your home, you know, give them a call. Also, too, you know, we've worked on this a little bit over the last year or so. I've got great relationships with other agents that aren't really in our marketplace. I've got an agent that has given me 5 leads this year because she doesn't want to work with listings. And she works for a different company. So I just sent her 25%. I'm glad to do it. We've got some relationship with builders too. And we're, you know, not so much that we're listing their properties, but we're also getting the opportunity when they have a contract with someone else to take that buyer for their home and list their personal property and sell the home so that they can get faster into the new property they're buying with the new construction.
I like the lead generation techniques that you're using with that too. Actually, that's funny that